To revel in the more familiar with no rules on genre, form, or novelty. Learn more about the origins of songs, the lives of the musicians that made them, and a wide array of interesting facts in general. It's freeform radio at its finest. Hear what you rarely hear anywhere else here on Radio Free Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. every Saturday on KSJE.
KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center, here to meet your urgent and emergent medical needs, whether they are COVID-19 related or not. Medical emergencies happen when you least expect them, whether it's a stroke, heart attack, illness, or injury. San Juan Regional Medical Center's caregivers are here to provide care to you and your loved ones. Find out more online at sanjuanregional.com. Ten minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Friday morning, September 25th. Good morning, everybody. I'm Scott Michlin. Thank you for tuning in to KSJE 90.9 FM over the air here in San Juan County, New Mexico, 103.3 FM over the air in Durango, Colorado, and of course streaming everywhere globally from KSJE.com. We're also welcoming our viewers who are watching this visual radio program this morning. We are streaming it live to the KSJE YouTube channel, to the KSJE Facebook page, and today we're also streaming to the KSJE Twitter feed as well. So welcome aboard, everyone. We are glad that you are with us. Coming up in the next few moments, I'll be talking about Higher Education Bond C with my guest, Gayle from the San Juan College Foundation. She is standing by. We'll be talking with her in just a few more moments, so stay tuned for that. Lots of good things that will happen from Bond Issue C. The funding will be coming to San Juan County, San Juan College, among the many other institutions of higher education in our state. So we'll be talking about that coming up this morning. And then after that, let's say at 10:30, I'll be joined by BLM Acting Director William Perry Pendley. He was visiting Farmington earlier this week. Got a chance to sit down and speak with him about Chaco Canyon and some of the other activities the BLM is undertaking here in the region. That conversation coming up this morning at 8:30 on KSJE, so stay tuned for that. You can listen or watch that as well. And then next hour, Mick Hess takes us roving with the arts. It is our classical music program, but on Fridays, Mick plays a little bit of Broadway for us, and today is no different. We'll be hearing songs from My Fair Lady coming up today at 9:06 on KSJE. At 12:30, it's our storytelling program, suitable for the whole family. It's stories for all ages, Cuentos, Hana, and Tales, produced with our partners over at the Farmington Public Library. And you'll hear that today at 12:30 on KSJE. Don't forget, of course, as I mentioned, you can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram in addition to our Facebook and YouTube channels. And let's take a look at the weather forecast. It's going to be another hot day today, 87 for a high with lots of sunshine in Farmington, 49 degrees and clear overnight. It'll be sunny tomorrow with a high of 85 on Saturday, 82 with sunshine on Sunday, but then a bit cooler weather begins next week. 70 degrees for a high on Monday with sunshine, an overnight low near 40, 73 on Tuesday, back up to the upper 70s Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but overnight lows in the mid-40s next week. Well, let me turn to my guest who is joining us this morning via Zoom from her home in Farmington. Gayle Dean is here from the San Juan College Foundation. And Gayle, good morning. It's great to see you. Thanks for joining me.
Good morning, Scott. Thank you for having me. This is a treat.
Well, it's a treat for me as well, and also our listeners and viewers, because we're talking about Bond Issue C, which will be on the ballot in November. I know a lot of folks are very, very interested in the elections, but they shouldn't neglect the lower issues on the ballot like this, Bond Issue C, right?
Absolutely. Thank you for saying that and for giving me this opportunity to talk about it. Bond C, you may be seeing some of these brochures around town, and we ask that you be our ambassadors and tell your friends and your family the importance of this. This will result, two things I want to say right off the bat, and I'm going to say them several times during this interview. The passage of this bond will not cause a tax increase.
Good to know.
It's just the same. Everything will stay the same, and there will be no tax increase. And the other thing is that I'm going to say several times some very important dates. Absentee voting. begins on October 6th. Early voting goes from October 17th to October 31st, Halloween.
Right.
And Election Day is November 3rd.
Good to know. I know a lot of folks are watching those dates as well. And there's also a website to learn more about Bond Issue C, and that is bondc4nm.com.
And Bond C, I like to say, it makes it easy to remember because there are several bonds on your ballot this year. Bond C is for colleges. And what this bond is going to do, Scott, is it's just going to give us money in this state, create new jobs, to invest in the infrastructure of the colleges and the universities across our state that we have already invested in. So it's just such an obvious good thing for our state. At San Juan College, we are going to get $3.5 million.
Right.
And here in our county, we're going to get $3.5 million for San Juan College, and we're going to get $1.3 for Dene College.
Right.
Those dollars will create jobs, and they will make our campuses safer. What San Juan College is going to do with our $3.5 million is we are going to pave some of our gravel parking lots. And we all know that walking on the uneven gravel and is not as safe. We don't feel as safe as when we're on pavement. We're going to update our entryways. We're going to have better lighting. We're going to make our campus more inviting and safe when all of us enter our campus.
Right. And I know too, Gayle, part of that is for ADA compliance, that Americans with Disabilities Act. And I think, gravel parking lots, if I'm in a wheelchair, that's not a very easy way to, get out of my car and get into the college. And so pavement is certainly a lot easier for folks like that. If you're on crutches, you mentioned the uneven gravel. And so those are the improvements scheduled for San Juan College. That's what that $3.5 million will be used for, and some other ADA improvements campus-wide, I think.
Absolutely. And across our state, we will be investing in our colleges and universities and making things better. And did you know that New Mexico is the second best bargain in the United States to get a college education?
Well, I know San Juan College is pretty good bargain, that's for sure. But our tuition rates statewide are pretty low compared to other states. I think you're right about that.
Absolutely. We know San Juan College is, but even throughout our state, is the second least expensive state for college tuition in the United States.
Wow.
So I think that's quite remarkable.
That really is.
Just to talk about a few facts, as of 2018, more than 122,000 students, Scott, attended classes taught by nearly 7,000 faculty, and more than 30,000 certificate and degrees were awarded. So that will show you the numbers that we are impacting every day.
True. Very true. There are lots of success stories each and every semester here at San Juan College and repeated across the state. You're absolutely right about that. And so this Bond Issue C, which you mentioned, Gayle, will provide a little economic boost as well, because there'll be some construction jobs and some other jobs to get these projects done. And so that's another, I guess, economic angle for the support for this bond issue, correct?
Absolutely. Here in San Juan County and statewide.
Right. Very true. And so we talk about jobs and economy and growth. And I know a lot of folks are concerned locally about jobs and the economy. We certainly have challenges in our county for sure, and across our state. So this would certainly help. And as you mentioned, this provides for dollars for all of the institutions of higher education across New Mexico, not just San Juan College. You mentioned Dene College. That's $1.3 million for them. And I know there's this website, as we mentioned, and it talks about the projects that they'll be doing, but a lot of it is food-based, talking about farmers and gardening, and a big garden at Dene College College, so that is what they're planning to use the money for, and providing more local food. NMSU is getting some money, in Mexico State University, and I know in our area in San Juan County, they're planning to renovate the Agricultural Science Center, which does a lot of work up on the Nappy, of course. They do a lot of research on for plants and growth and what grows well here and what doesn't grow so well here, and offers a lot of that for free to local gardeners and farmers. And so that's what they will use some of that money for here, again, in San Juan County. But for San Juan College, it's mostly parking lots, you mentioned, improvements, ADA compliance issues, some of those types of things. And so, it's a good thing. And you mentioned that no taxes will be increased because of this. So taxes will remain the same, right?
Exactly. There will be no tax increase. The lighting on our campus and in the entryways will also be improved. You and I have talked about this. I mean, I am so proud of our community, and I'm so proud of the way that San Juan College and our leadership has responded to this pandemic. And I think that we have learned so much about the fact that we have to have a blend, a hybrid method of both face-to-face, hands-on. I mean, obviously more so now, but to meet the needs of students, we have to have that always. And all of the things that we're doing at San Juan College and this with this bond money will just make it easier for students and the community to avail themselves of all the things that can make their life better here at San Juan College.
That's a good point, Gildine. As you mentioned, I mean, it's so maybe hard for folks to think about the future these days because we really aren't quite sure where we're going or how we're going to get there. But, we will be gathering again. We will be coming back to San Juan College to see plays and concerts and wonderful community events and art gatherings and things like that. And so these improvements that we're talking about would certainly also include community members coming on campus, not walking across the gravel parking lot and some of these other ADA compliance issues that would help not just students and faculty and staff, but members of the community as well.
Exactly. It's so important, and it's no tax increase. It's such a wonderful use of dollars. And I just hope that all the people listening today will help us make sure that Bond C is successful.
Right. And I know, of course, the college has been the beneficiary of several other Bond C votes over the years, and they've already provided for a lot of improvements that folks can see. And I think some of the important things to note are, the college has been a pretty good steward of public dollars throughout its history. I think we got another award for our accounting folks and the business office and things along that line. And that's important, I think, for folks, too, when we're talking about millions and millions of dollars.
I think that's so important. Thank you for bringing that up. And I also want to just brag some more about our community. Most of the time, Bond C through the years has been successful. But of course, there have been some times when it did not pass. I am proud to tell you that San Juan County, is actually used as a model. When I go to the statewide meetings for Bond C, San Juan County is mentioned time and time again because this community always makes education a priority. And even when the percentage of pro votes, yes votes, are lower in other parts of the state, San Juan County is always at the top of the charts.
Well,
and I just think, yeah.
I was going to say we could see the community's pride in our schools, and it's not just Farmington. That includes you're talking about Kirtland and Shiprock and all of San Juan County, Aztec, Bloomfield. I think voters do support education and higher education, and we can see that throughout the county. So that's a good point. And the dates.
Absolutely, I'm talking about our entire community.
Right. And the dates again, Gildine, again, you mentioned absentee voting, which will begin soon on October 6th. I keep forgetting that October's next week already.
I know.
Holy smokes.
October 6th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that's coming very quickly. So you can start absentee voting, and early voting is from the 17th through the 31st of October, and of course Election Day on November 3rd. But that is certainly something we want to make sure everyone's aware of when they're going to the polls and however they plan to vote. To don't forget about the bond issues down ballot, because as we were mentioning, Bond C, very important for San Juan College and the other colleges here in San Juan County.
And for jobs and just for the health and well-being of our entire Four Corners community.
That's true. Well, and we talked about the economy and things along that line and what this will mean and some of the other things. And I know if folks still have questions, they can certainly call San Juan College and find more information, I know, from the San Juan College Foundation and things like that, correct?
Absolutely. And I'd also like to say, Scott, that I would love to do presentations. I'm getting quite a few scheduled right now. But please, if you're listening and you belong to an organization or a group that you think would be interested in learning a little bit more about Bond C and might be having a meeting that I could attend and just talk to them or answer any questions, please contact me. And I would be glad to do that.
Very good. And they can do that, Gayle. I know they can send you an email or a phone call. What's the best way? What would you say?
If you call my direct line, I have a direct line at San Juan College. That's 566-3204. But please know you can also call the main line at San Juan College, 326-3311. Just say, could I please speak with Gayle Dean? If I don't pick up, please leave a message and I will get back to you very quickly.
Very good. And of course, we're all getting really good at Zoom, so you can appear at a meeting via Zoom or maybe in person if they're doing some socially distancing meetings.
And whichever is best for them, whichever is best. So if there's any, we just need to spread the word. Bonds are at the end of the ballot, as Scott mentioned, and obviously it's a big year and lots of things going on, but so these don't get as much attention, but they are extremely important.
They really are. And again, the projects covered here at San Juan College under Bond C, we're talking $3.5 million. That's a big dollar amount for lots of jobs and lots of economic impact while these projects are going on. But repaving and upgrading some of the older parking lots, the gravel lots specifically, will be repaved. Additional energy efficient roadway and parking lot lighting across campus, which certainly will help in the longer term with utility bills, I would think, if it's more energy efficient lighting.
Absolutely.
And improvements to campus entryways and signage enhancements. And I know we have a beautiful campus, but I know sometimes folks get a little confused because you can't just say go to the white building with the turquoise trim, because that's almost every one of them. So more signage is always a good thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And inviting entryways and no tax increase. No tax increase.
That's the important part too. Good point. Well, Gayle, thank you so much for joining me to talk about this really important issue. I know, again, I think the community is very proud of San Juan College, as we all are who work here, of course. But this is one more way to show our pride and supporting this issue, and maybe encouraging others as well to at least get out and make sure they vote and make sure they're aware of all these questions are being asked to decide on the ballot in November.
Thank you, Scott, and I appreciate the time so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for joining me. That's Gayle Dean, everyone. She is the executive director of the San Juan College Foundation, talking with me this morning about Bond Issue C on the ballot in November. I'll be back with more in just a moment. It is KSJE, and the time right now is 8:27.
Facebook plays